Welcome to Looking Thru Purple Glasses. Here is your host, Laura Levy.
Thanks, Moj. Welcome back to another episode of Looking Thru Purple Glasses. I am your host, Laura Levy, and in studio today, the fancy studio, I might say, is my friend Josh Lucero. How are you today, Josh?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
Good. We were just summarizing the big Avalanche win over the weekend against the Penguins when it was a huge comeback to win 5-4 in overtime, but they were down 4 goals. So we were, as our listeners, I'm sure know, hockey is a conversation that I have with most of my guests. So anyway, Josh and I met through his significant other, Erica. Erica, shout out, was my assistant for a while, and I wanted to get a new tattoo, and hence I got introduced to Josh. So, Josh, why don't you just share a couple of things about you, where you grew up?
I don't have much to me. I'm very simple, but I grew up in Denver, lived out here my whole life. I have 2 children, 10 and 5. And basically my life just revolves around art and music. That's about it.
Yeah. For those that don't know Josh, he loves Adele.
I do. She's nice.
She's nice. I think you told me the other day you're actually going to go see her out in Vegas.
Yeah, I actually wasn't like a huge fan of her for a while. But recently it's just hit a little different. I think that's what made me fall in love with her. So, yeah, hopefully I see her one day.
One day. I don't know. Maybe in May?
I don't know. She canceled a lot of her shows.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Her voice was hurting or something like that.
Oh, well, I hope you get to see her soon because I know how much you like her.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Have you been drawing from a young age? Did you kind of know growing up that this was maybe a career that you wanted to do something in art?
Yeah, when I was younger, I honestly couldn't even remember when I got into art. I think art became a thing when I was little, like a kind of like a coping type of thing, run away from everything without having to run away.
Yeah.
So I would just draw all the time. All I ever did was draw in my bedroom and listen to Jay-Z's Black Album over and over since I was little. But I couldn't really tell you a moment where I knew I can draw better than maybe other kids or anything like that. I didn't really have that moment. And I never really had the moment of where I knew I was into art.
Okay.
It just happened.
Okay.
Career-wise, I didn't think this would be something I'd be doing. Throughout high school, I had kids who would maybe bring it up, recommend like, hey, you should try this shit. But I honestly didn't think of it as like something I would really do. So after high school, a little bit after, I worked at the grocery store for about a month. My younger sister, Chantal, she brought me home a magazine that had a tattoo kit in the back of it. It was just to like order, and of course it was like a cheap machine, whatever. She told me I should try that out and brought me the clipping from the magazine. I ordered the tattoo machine and everything with it. Honestly, didn't even know how to work it at first. Just did that, and then from there, that was it. I started tattooing my stepdad, family, close friends, stuff like that.
Wow.
And now here I am, like 17 years later.
17 years later.
Yes.
So you're over at, is it Love and Hate? Love?
Yes, just love and hate.
Tattoo?
Art. Yeah, the cool ways to put a letter N, love and hate, whatever way.
Over off of Colfax, just west of Wads. I know that you, like the best tattooers in town, book kind of far in advance. So for any of those people that would be looking to maybe get some artwork done, what's the best way for people to reach out to you and see some of your stuff? And
Best way for us, of course, is it just got to a point where it's a lot easier to just have everybody email, kind of like any, like, I guess, professional kind of job thing like that. Easiest way is always to email, and we book out in just like 6-month spans. And I think that's a lot of the shop now. Book out the first 6 months of the year, make a wait list for the second half. And then once we get there, we'll book the second half. So first initial wait is the part that's kind of a bummer for a lot of people. But once you get in there, you can always just stay in a rotation, whether it be once a month, once every 2 weeks. Some people like to do that, and they like to just stay in there for years.
Or you could be like me and just wake up one day and go, Josh, when's your next 30-minute window?
Yeah, see, and with you, it's a little bit easier because, of course, like when I have anybody who's like, if it's something small, we can always, hey, let's fit it in here somewhere. I'm not that busy, and I'm never too good for any tattoo. So anything can come in and I'll do it.
You are a black and white specialist, right? That's
Yes.
kind of what you've, I don't know, made your career on, or what you excel at.
Yeah, just specialize in that and that just came naturally because of just when I was younger, all I would draw was pencil, graphite, stuff like that. So I never really got into color, anything. If you see, I wear black every single day.
I think every single time I've seen Josh, he's in black and a black and white hat. And today, for reference, it's the White Sox black hat with white socks on the front. It doesn't necessarily mean you like the White Sox. You just like the black hat.
Yes. I think this is like hat number 17 of White Sox. So yeah.
Well, I wanted to just talk a little bit more about, I know you started drawing when you were younger. Your sister gave you the kit to try to get you in it. If somebody was looking to get into tattoo, if they are listening and they're, either younger trying to figure out what they want to do and they think that they've got a pretty good knack for drawing, or if it's somebody that's looking for a career change, what advice would you give kind of maybe both people as far as seeing if this would be something that they would like to do?
Best advice, of course, draw. That's literally the biggest thing. Draw as much as you can. I would say going about it would be me personally. I didn't go about an apprenticeship. I just learned from home, which I think is in hindsight, now that I'm into the career, I see that was the wrong way to go about it. I definitely would recommend going through an apprenticeship, only because now that I've worked in this studio, we've seen plenty of people come in that we apprentice, and they got to a level of tattooing, accomplish that a way faster time period than I ever did. It took me way longer to get to where they are now, and it's only taken them maybe a year, 2 years, and they're already there where it took me 7, 8.
Well, okay.
So I think that's the best way. Not to say that without an apprenticeship you can't do it, because I did that, but I do think it's going to save you so much time to do an apprenticeship.
And is that something that most shops will do, and you just contact the shop, or what's that process look like?
I actually just talked about this recently with a friend. Not every shop is going to do it. I think there is those studios where people can be this is very sacred. You can't get in. We're not going to let anybody in.
Okay.
But I don't think that applies to everybody. Okay. I think the biggest thing is draw so much, be so good at drawing that a shop can't turn you down.
Okay.
They're going to want someone like you who shows they're dedicated, someone who shows this is something I'm passionate about. So I wouldn't say every shop does it. And of course, some artists are just too busy. There's just too much going on to have to sit there and teach somebody else. But our shop will do it if it feels like the right person. You show you're dedicated, you show you're passionate about it. And usually that, if you'd like to know, it consists of probably apprenticing for a year and a half maybe, which is, of course, also me and the friend talked about this recently as well, is it's you do it for free. A lot of people don't like that, but it's teaching a skill.
Yeah.
I get it. This life isn't easy when you're not getting paid, but it's something that I think has a huge return with it. That year off or year and a half of not working, what you didn't make in that time will come back to you really quick. Yeah. And it's just like you go to school somewhere for hours, and you might not even get a job right with this, what you went to college for, might not even get it, and now you're thousands of dollars in debt. So so I get it from both ends. Yeah, nobody likes to work for free, but sometimes that's how it goes. First off, I guess, is there a part of the body that you will not tattoo? No? Okay. I've done some tattoos, and
I watch a lot of Ink Master.
Yeah, no, I understand it with them, because you want to show your best work when you're in a competition. There's parts of the body we don't like to tattoo because it's just really hard. But
as an example, where would that be?
I don't know. I don't like doing necks. Necks aren't very fun. It's just uncomfortable to sit them a certain place. It's uncomfortable to have your hands all over them, in that area. Things like that. But no, I've done tattoos pretty much everywhere. So I wouldn't say anything's off limits for the right price.
For somebody that maybe is looking at getting their first tattoo, and they, want to put it on their shoulder, they want to put it on their thigh, they want to where would be a place that for somebody that had never gone through tattooing before, and they walk into your shop and say, "Hey, Josh, I want to get a tattoo here," and you would say, "Is this your first tattoo?" That might not be the best place.
We're saying places that I'd recommend they don't get them first time. Probably things like feet.
Feet hurt.
Feet, knees, your foot, your knees, your ribs. stuff like that. But when it comes to placement, because of like visibility and because of work and stuff like that, me personally, I don't ever turn anyone down for that. That's their life if that's what they want to do. But I know there is artists out there that won't tattoo your neck if you don't have maybe a sleeve or something like that, which is also understandable. But to me, I'm like, that's your life. Live it.
Yeah. I get that for sure. I think I had my first tattoo when I was 21 years old, and I can't even tell you today. Like, I know that I got the black outline done on my tattoo, and then they sent me away and told me to come back because they wanted to do the color later. So
what is it? I don't know if I know this.
It's an alligator playing a guitar.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Take me back to my DJ days so that I will never forget my DJ days. And it had been so super, super long time before I even entertained wanting to get another tattoo. And my niece had drawn an illustration for me and given it to me for Christmas about having most of the sports teams' logos in. And so you and I talked, and I said, hey, is this something you think we could do? And we knocked it out, and now I feel like I'm a little addicted.
No,
so
I felt that from you. and especially how close these last two came, the Stanley Cup and then these two that we recently did. It's like, yeah, they came really fast. I can feel the addiction already.
I just saw Josh last week, and he said, I didn't know that I was going to see you again after the first one. And now you're like becoming a weekly person in here. But I did say when I posted the two that I recently got, I said it was going to I'm going to have to pause a little bit, I think, but we'll see what happens. You never know.
Yeah. I walk in here and you tell me I'm ready to do this one behind my ear. So I don't know how long that pause is going to last.
I'm telling you, once you get your first one, do you have a favorite tattoo that you've done?
No, I would say there's quite a bit of pieces out there that I'm very proud of. That's really hard. I have like certain people that are covered in a few, and it's the collection of all of them that looks really nice.
Okay.
Like just recently, I think like I have one dude's leg that comes to mind. I've been doing like an Egyptian leg.
Okay.
And right now I could say that's like my favorite, that like how it's going. But overall, I don't think I have one. I like to, I don't know. I don't want to say this and like, oh, all I do is like go to work or anything. It's just like every time I see so many of them out there sometimes and see these people who have my tattoos, and every time it's a really like proud feeling of like how nice that looks. But I wouldn't say one stands out more than any of the others. There's a few of them, but I couldn't put like a list. That list would change all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I got a Stanley Cup tattoo on my left wrist. I guess it's been a couple months ago now that we did that. And I get comments on it all the time, not just because it's the Stanley Cup. It's the best trophy in sports, by the way.
Agree.
And, but the detail, and I think that's part of what people might think about tattooing is that it's for, big tattoos, or girls get little dainty hearts on their ankles when they're 18 or 16. But, the amount of detail that you can get into your tattooing is really impressive.
I appreciate it.
It's super cool.
And like I said, I will, like you saying, like full sleeves or whatever, down to like the dainty little tattoos that females like get usually. Like I said, and I'll do it all too. I will never feel like I'm too good for any tattoo. It's
That's
like
awesome.
Some of those things got me here. I'm not going to say no to them. I'm never too big for anything or anybody.
That's good to know. I just had him put a 4-leaf clover on my foot, and the foot does hurt.
And did color for you.
And did color for me, which
twice.
I know he doesn't like to do color, but he did it. He's done it for me twice now. So your daughter is 10?
Well, she'll be 10 in April. So coming up really quick.
Okay.
Too fast.
What age would you be okay with her coming to you and saying, Dad, I want my first tattoo?
16 if I'm doing it, and I approve every single part of it. Yeah, I would say like 16. I think
because Erica is covered in tattoos too. So, I mean, they're growing up in a house where, tattoos are predominant, right?
Yeah. So they see them all the time. And of course, them being kids, I draw on them sometimes, stuff like that. To be completely honest, it just right now, of course, there's still some time, but being where we're at now, I don't see my daughter wanting to get tattoos right away for whatever reason. Yeah, I feel like she talked about it before, but that's been a thing that just she doesn't care for anymore. which is weird. My son, even him just being as little as he is, he's going to be the one that's like, cover me. I just feel like that's going to be him.
And is it going to be 16 for him too?
Yes, I think for both of them.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it before that, even if I was doing it.
Okay.
Even 16 sometimes feels a little low to me.
Yeah.
But I feel like nowadays that's just becoming a thing. It's waiting to 18 just doesn't feel like people do that much anymore. We do have people who come in all the time with their parents and sign a consent form for them to get tattooed younger.
Okay.
Like I said, me personally, I won't go under 16, even if it's somebody else and they're signing for their kid. I won't do that. And a lot of times even 16 feels too low for me.
Sure.
That's
just seems like 16's young, but in the big world, we let them drive cars.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So for me personally, like I said, I would let my kids at 16, I think.
Yeah.
Depending what it is. And
yeah,
if I'm
like,
doing it.
I don't know. There'd be a part of me that would be like, okay, look, what do you want? And we're going to permanently, put it, take a Sharpie and draw it on and see if you like it in 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
And that's probably best because a lot of the tattoos I have that I got even when I was over 18, I wish I never got them.
I think that happens a lot.
But I got to a point where I told myself, and I don't do it enough, I tell myself, cover my entire body, and those small tattoos that I didn't like won't even be noticeable anymore. Nobody will pay attention to them.
Yeah.
But I just got to get there.
For those that have tattoos that they maybe don't want anymore, removal, what's your kind of take on removing tattoos? Like, are there processes out there? Are the processes better for certain tattoos than others? I don't know anything about it. So
I think that's a thing that's become so advanced that there's nothing wrong whatsoever. I've worked with a few people who've got laser removal, and you don't see, I feel like back then you would see a little more like scarring a little bit with the tattoo. The skin kind of having that like trauma to it. Nowadays, it doesn't feel like that. I feel like maybe I could be wrong about how it was before, but what I could remember is that like, yeah, there was usually like some sort of like trauma to it. It wasn't as good, but of course it keeps advancing. And now I've worked with a few people who've gotten that stuff done. And I think it just works great. It's a process, but it works. And sometimes if they're going to cover it, we just need that as an artist. Like, you need to lighten it up, else there's nothing we can do about it.
I was just going to say, some people may come in and just say, hey, I want to cover this up with something else instead of having it fully removed. And I'm assuming you guys do that kind of cover up work.
Yeah, we have a few. And me personally, I don't do a lot of cover ups only because of the way black and gray works.
Yeah.
To make your light tones, you need to show the skin breaks. You need to let the skin shine through. So I can't really like pack color over anything to cover up. So rarely will I do a cover up, just depending what the person wants, how okay they are with me doing kind of whatever I wanted on it. Will help out a lot. I maybe do, I'd say 3 a year or something like that. I don't do a whole lot of them.
And the process of removal, I'm assuming, depends on whether it's color, black and white, if it's what size it is, and how many treatments you would have to go through to be able to get it removed. Or
yeah, there's I think there's like a whole I don't understand it a whole lot, but I think what it is some colors just break down better than others.
That makes sense.
And so then that just depends, like stuff like that, how it heals. Are you crying?
Oh, no, I have really bad allergies. But yes, okay. I do have a tear coming down my eye. Right. Tattoos make me sad.
Yeah, I just wanted to check on you.
Thank you. Well, it's been super fun having you here today. I know I sprung this on you really late yesterday. I had a bunch of extra time this week, and I thought, who's flexible? And I thought, well, Josh is like literally like 4 blocks away from me. So I do appreciate you coming in. Anything else that you want to cover that we haven't talked about as far as you or the tattoo world, or
no, not
maybe
necessarily.
Inquiring Minds, have you tattooed anybody famous?
Yes. Probably the most famous I've tattooed is, I would say Von Miller is probably the most famous.
Oh, yeah.
Also one that's up there is Demarius Thomas.
Oh, rest in peace. Yeah.
Yes. Those are probably the biggest two. And then Carlos Gonzalez from the Rockies.
Oh, yeah.
I still haven't got an Avalanche player under my belt. I don't know. I feel like they just get colored tattoos. I just picture that all the time. So, and of course you can't see what players get them and what players don't and stuff like that.
Right.
So I feel like that's where I'm missing out.
Or the Nuggets.
I've tattooed a few Nuggets players,
okay.
but back then, none of like the recent ones.
Okay.
And I just don't care for basketball. So I never even remember these guys' names. I don't even know who they are. Yeah, right now I couldn't even think of the most famous basketball players that I've tattooed. I couldn't even think of their names.
Like on the current team?
No.
Who you would have tattooed before?
Yeah, because there's been a handful of them, probably 5 or 6, but I cannot even think of one of their names. I just don't care for basketball whatsoever, so I have no clue.
Well, we all love the Nuggets and we love the Avs. You know, I think we're Bronco fans no matter what. And I think
kinda.
the Rockies, man, we all know about the Rockies. So
Oh yeah, awful.
opening day is right around the corner. It's going to be, I think, close to 70 degrees opening day for the Rockies.
And I actually don't think I'm going out to opening day this year.
No?
That's my year sober.
Wow.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I'm excited. It's very close.
That year flew by.
Yeah, it really did. Honestly, went really, really fast.
So if you're not drawing and you're not at Avs games, what else do you do in your free time? Kids, drawing?
The kids and draw. That's literally all I ever do. I don't have much more to my life.
What are you listening to right now?
What do you think?
Adele. Is there someone other than Adele that you're listening to?
Like I said, I don't know what it is with her. That just her music's been feeling very deep to me recently. So I like to listen to it to read my mind south. I'm not the only person who feels like this. Just hip hop, as always.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I sat here and started to tell you about what I listen to hip hop, I feel like you're gonna not really know what's going on with a lot of these guys.
It's not important for me to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody that I'm not into hip hop,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean anything.
I'll just then I'll start talking way too much. Once I get going, it doesn't stop. It just keeps running. So
we'll stick with Adele then.
I was curious, why is your podcast? How did you get this name?
So Looking Through Purple Glasses, I stewed on it for a little while and I did a lot of whiteboarding, just throwing ideas up on a whiteboard and trying to make some sense out of what I wanted to do with the podcast. And I've always loved the color purple. For those that don't know me personally, my hair has usually got some sort of purple in it. And when I looked up the color of purple, the meaning of it, it really just sort of resonated with me. Abundance and gratitude. And I knew that was the direction that I wanted to go with the podcast, because I know so many people that contribute to this world in such amazing ways. And I just wanted to be able to provide a little bit of lightheartedness with a little bit of information and hopefully, get people laughing and providing some joy and fun.
Well, I understand that completely, because if you were to let me, I'd probably sit here and talk all day. I don't want to go to work.
It's kind of fun. I think we're in episode maybe 7 right now, or 8. Yeah. So we're still in the infancy stage of the podcast, but I have definitely had some guests that we lose track of time. And before we know it, it's an hour and we're doing a lot of editing. And then I have other people that it's like 15 minutes and we're trying to draw it out and trying to add as much content as possible. So for some people that don't spend a lot of time with headphones and microphones and aren't comfortable hearing their own voices, those tend to be the shorter podcasts. But
anytime you want to talk about anything at all,
just have you stop by.
Yeah. Hey, come by. Let's talk. I'll sit here and talk with you all day about anything and everything. You've been in the shop. We do kind of, I think when you're in there, we kind of tone down what we talk about.
I think it depends, because I've been in the shop where there's just like you and who's the
Gabe.
Gabe. Yeah. Yes. So it's just you and Gabe, and maybe Gabe has a client, but it's just the 4 of us. And the conversation and the music is a little bit different from the other day when I was in there and there were 6 artists and everybody had a client and
it just changes quite a bit, but
it's a fun shop. I'll tell anybody listening that is, considering getting your first tattoo or, your 100th tattoo, look Josh up. Love and Hate Tattoo, Facebook page, Instagram. You guys do any of that stuff?
We do. We have our Instagram page. I believe it's just, let's see, we'll look at it. It's just LNH_tattoo studio.
Okay.
There's our Instagram, and usually our email's on there to send in an email, fill out a form, and maybe we'll see you soon.
Cool. All right.
Also, so it's on record, just because we brought up Gabe really quick, just shout out to my friend Gabe. I love that dude. He's tight. He's my favorite. He's cool.
I think you guys work together well and have some good banter that goes on between the two of you, because I know that he gives you a little bit of a hard time about your Adele addiction too. So
yeah, that's okay. I don't know. Like I said, just so it's on record, I love that dude forever. He's tight. I'm glad he brought me in, and I'm glad that's the place that I work now, and I don't see me ever going anywhere else.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm super thankful for your, I don't even know what they call it, soft touch with your tattoos.
A light hand.
Light hand.
Light hand.
Okay. There's the right terminology. And yeah, super thankful that you came in today, and I'll put all your contact information below in the content below. And yeah, we'll stay in touch, and maybe we'll have you back again.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You
See ya.
too.